Greetings, Hoodoo family. I hope this video finds you doing well. Well, family, I need to jump right into today's topic because we've got a very urgent situation going on because of, what is happening to our people in Washington, D.C. So I'd like to invite you to come along with me and let's take a look at what's happening from a larger spiritual perspective. But most of all, I want to share 3 hoodoo practices that our households can do to help provide a covering for the family. And these practices will help to bring safety, protection, and blessing for your loved ones. So I'm very excited to share these. But first, let's get a good understanding of something, give you some context. So on page 59 of the 2025 Hoodoo Almanac, I wrote, and if you don't have the book, that's okay, because I'm going to read this to you. At all levels of humanity, the spirit of conflict is dangerously high during 2025. At a global level, it will become haphazard. Yet, it's the response to conflict that matters most during this year. Conflict during 2025 is basically another major crossroad, and responses represent the roads ahead. Unfortunately, there is the potential for bad diplomacy at the global level, which brings us closer to war. We can look at Israel. We can look at the Ukraine and Russia and US, and we can see all this unfolding. So, let me continue. As Black people in America, we will face our own conflict, which will force us to stand up boldly as a collective, resulting in success. How we respond to conflicts will determine our future. This is no time for cowardliness, but to grow a backbone and be wise. Remember that old scripture, be wise like a serpent, but gentle as a dove. This is it in 2025. All right, so I wrote that in the 2025 Hoodoo Almanac to alert our people that this year was going to see a lot of conflicts. And that's all this year has been. There's just conflicts all over the place. Now, this is important because so far this year, we as a people have been sitting out on a lot of these conflicts, a lot of the protest and what have you. And we weren't supposed to be a part of these things. We talk about how we are resting, but I don't think a lot of people realize that the ancestors had us resting for a reason. They knew that a conflict, a battle, would soon be at our door, and it looks like it's approaching. So now here's where we want to go into the bigger picture. Because what's happening now is just the beginning of our conflict, but also it's a distraction that will go very wrong. Those who set this in motion, of course they have an agenda. But guess what? They're going to FAFO, play with chaos and get played by chaos. They don't know what we know, that chaos is actually a spirit that cannot be controlled. That's how massive it is. Just like how some years ago they tried to control a hurricane and they held it over the Bahamas for like 5 days, and that was them interfering. Do y'all remember that? They didn't care how it destroyed the lives of people in the Bahamas, their property and everything. All they were concerned with was keeping their mansions, keeping their wealth, keeping everything they had in place along the Gulf Coast, keeping that in order. So they didn't mind what happened. The Bahamas was a sacrifice for their survival. And I don't know if you recall, but soon afterwards, a hurricane defied all odds and did something a hurricane has never done before. It walked up a mountain and destroyed everything in its path. Once again, play with chaos and get played by chaos. So what's happening now is the powers that be are playing with chaos once again. They never learn. They are foolishly creating chaos in our neighborhoods of the nation's capital. And I realize that many of our people see this as helping us, while others view it as an attack. So let me be clear, you can see this however you choose. That's your right. And I'm glad that you're using critical thinking to look at this. My focus is the tomfoolery of them messing with something they cannot control. The big picture is that this will eventually have unintended consequences, which will hurt them more than it hurts us. Their chaos will end up being our justice. Let me do a Dr. Umar and say that again. Their chaos will end up being our justice. You know, we as a people, we can't control the foolish actions of others. We can't control poorly and hastily executed things like this, knee-jerk reactions of others. Right now, the best thing that we can do is put a covering over our homes and our families so that the spirit of chaos will not knock at our door. Now let's talk about those 3 hoodoo practices that you can do to help keep chaos away from your home and your family. You know, like the spirit of nature, which has no favorites. And by this, what I mean is that it can be both nourishing, but it can also be deadly. Like water, it can give life and it can take life. Chaos is the same way. Chaos has no favoritism. It will destroy everything and everyone that gets in its path. Now, what that means is that you need to cover yourself. While we have all this chaos being unleashed, you need to keep yourself covered. Now, only the hand of God can stop chaos. Go back and look at my video on how to make a mojo protection hand. But I want you to do something different. I want you to pray over it. Call on the hand of God to reside in it. Let it become the hand of God. Speak on it to protect and be a hedge of protection around everyone in your household. And what you're going to do is place this on the inside of your front door. Now, here's the second thing that you can do. Negative spirits and entities are drawn to the power of chaos. You know, even if chaos doesn't touch your home, it's these negative spirits that linger about that can be manifested as attitudes or mindsets or negative emotions within the people around you, in your neighborhood, in your community, in your city. This is spiritual energy that is around you, negative spiritual energy. And of course, sometimes it can just be outright uncrossed spirits feeding off of the fears, the anxieties, the trauma, the chaos has brought. And I know it might look crazy, it might seem questionable to some, but one thing that I would ask you to do is place a small mirror on the outside of your door So if someone comes up to your door, something comes to your door, they have to see that mirror. This is helpful because it's a barrier for those negative energies within the people around you. But for the spirits, they will not cross over your door sill. And, all those people harboring the negative energy, they're going to be checked at the door. Now, I know in other systems, there's other ways that they tell you to position this mirror by the door. This is hoodoo. Put that mirror on your front door on the outside. So whoever comes up to your home has to look in that mirror. Now, the final thing, find the southwest corner of your home and clean it really good with lavender water or any type of spiritual cleanse that you might have. You can even use hoodoo holy water if you have this. In fact, that's the best. What you're going to do is just take a rag with that solution, wipe the floor, wipe the walls and everything in that corner. And if possible, every now and then, light a blue candle there for protection in that corner. Pray in that corner. Every time you go near, just pray over it. Pray in there and ask your ancestors to protect you and the family, keeping your home free of negative spirits and energy. And if you like to do the burning herb rituals, burn herbs there in that southwest corner for protection, for cleansing, for blocking. The goal is to keep the Southwest spiritually cleansed and protected, because this is where negativity, past traumatic energy, and spirits concentrate. It is the base of their power in your home. Now, I'll close by saying this that goes all the way back to slavery days. Our ancestors used to sing a song called "Watch Where the Star Runs." And the words go like this: "Oh, watch that star, see how it runs. See if the star runs in the western hill." The ancestors knew how to be observant, and they paid attention to how things unfolded, what course they were going to take, what course they were on. And they did this to determine what to expect. That star falling in the west was a bad sign. It meant that death was on the way. It meant that something was about to end. And outside of death, it also meant that destruction or even judgment was near. Now, I say all of that to say, be like our ancestors, family. Right now is the time, not the time for knee-jerk reactions. This is not the time for getting emotional, letting your emotions guide your actions. No, 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 no. With all that's going on around us, you need your spirit and you need critical thinking. It's time to play chess, not checkers. So I just encourage you to be observant of what is unfolding so that you can be prepared. So family, I hope this video has been helpful to you. Please, please be wise, be safe. Keep your eyes wide open. Keep building good and positive things in your life. Build up that strong hedge of protection around you and your loved ones. Family, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.